To all those above me that watch over me, to all of you, my fave parapeeps on this side of the veil, welcome. This is the Paranormal Ministry. I'm your host, Shawn Whittington. I'm a seminarian in the United States Old Catholic Church, and I'm coming to you live from my haunted house, my very haunted house, where I live. And I should have known today with today's guest that we were going to have some issues. We're having some paranormal issues, computer paranormal issues. And then I know some of you are out there going, "Oh, Rev, come on, not again with the whole paranormal and the computer issues." But those of us that have been in this field for a long time, we know that things beyond our control can manipulate electronics and weather. I've witnessed it both. So hopefully we'll make it through the show without too many issues. You all tuned in today for my guest because we all love her and respect her, and she's in the green room, and I will bring her out ASAP. First, let's check the prayer urn. Henry K. from Indiana. Someone close to me has been diagnosed with cancer. I am so sorry to hear that, Henry. Been there, done that. Please offer up prayer for them and all those suffering with cancer. You know what? That's a beautiful request, and I most certainly will, Henry. And that's going to be St. Jude. What do you think about that? And because so many people reach out to me for cures to impossible causes when he's the patron saint of impossible causes, I have a prayer right here, I believe, for St. Jude. I do. I love this prayer. I hope you all do too. Guys, for everyone out there who's either suffered from cancer personally or knows someone that has suffered through it, still with us or have gone on to heaven, um, just bow your head, touch your computer screen, think love and light, and add your positive vibes to this prayer. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Most holy Apostle St. Jude, faithful servant and friend of Jesus, the Church honors and invokes you universally as the patron of difficult cases, of things almost despaired of. Pray for me. I am so helpless and alone. Intercede with God for me that he bring visible and speedy help where help is almost despaired of. Come to my assistance in this great need that I may receive the consolation and help of heaven in all my necessities, tribulations, and sufferings. Particularly, help Henry and those close to him that are suffering from this insidious disease, cancer. And that I may praise God with you and all the saints forever, I promise, O blessed St. Jude, to be ever mindful of this great favor granted me by God, and to always honor you as my special and powerful patron, and to gratefully encourage devotion to you. Amen. Henry, do me a big favor, brother. Keep me posted on the situation with your beloved one, your close friend, close family member, and let me know how they're doing. Trust me, St. Jude's the one you want to go to. He's an old friend of the family, and I tell a great story in my first book about something that St. Jude did for my family once, and I know it was through St. Jude. So let's check the mailbag, Paranormal Ministry mailbag. Jules B. from Illinois. Do you believe in goblins at Halloween? Any precautions one can take to avoid a goblin trick? I'm going to leave. Well, I think of goblins. I think of demons. I think of elementals. My guest today may know a thing or two about demonic familiars and elementals. But let me just tell you a little story. Yes, you better be careful. Um, you know, Traditionally, goblins look like kids, and so they're the size of kids. And so, I wouldn't put it past one to knock on your door for some candy or some type of treat. And they put on a mask so you don't really even know it's a goblin. I've had knocks on my door on Halloween, and I look through the people and I don't see anybody. I don't open the door. I've also looked through the door and I've seen some very odd, you know, kids that just the vibe I got, they didn't seem right, and I didn't answer the door. So, if it doesn't feel right, don't do it if you during Halloween. But if you're going to celebrate it, if you're going to put a pumpkin out and leave the front porch light on and celebrate Halloween, then be ready. Have plenty of candy, because the last thing you want is to answer the door to a goblin and not give him candy. You're gonna have issues. Or just don't put the pumpkin out and leave the front porch light off like me and don't celebrate it. But I'm gonna ask my guest today about that too. Speaking of that, if there's anything you want to know about my wife and I and our ministry work, go to our website, www.ghost-b-gone.biz. And if you go there to visit, keep in mind my wife and I don't charge for our ministry work, helping people with their paranormal issues. So I know times are tough, but if you happen to notice the donate button and you're able to do so, please click on it and send in a small donation to our ministry. I promise you, it'll be appreciated from the bottom of our hearts. And trust me, we'll put it to good use. Don't leave the website, though, without navigating over to the page called the WSE course/book. On that page, you'll find the Ghost Store. Lots of cool things to buy if you go for that sort of stuff. But scroll down a little bit further, and speaking of my book, you'll run into my new haunted autobiography, God, Ghosts, and the Paranormal Ministry. And I quote, the scariest book I ever published. That was Annette Munich, owner of Stellium Books, my publisher. But don't let that scare you off of purchasing a copy. If you haven't done your good deed for the day yet, part of the proceeds of every sale of every copy of my book goes to support stjude.org, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital in Nevada, and the ASPCA. So you get to help some of the neediest children on the planet and the animals too. How cool is that? And this is a great time to get the book too, because God, Ghosts, and the Paranormal Ministry 2, Chronicles of an American Exorcist, comes out supposed to come out next month. It's ready, but I make a big announcement in the book that I'm not allowed to talk about yet. And rumor has it I'm able to talk about it in November. So we've pushed the book back to November, but you never know. It may not come out in November yet. I'm hoping it is, but it's a great time to get caught up with the first book, so you're all ready for the second book when it comes out. You can get the book autographed off of my website, and it arrives in a house blessing kit, or you can get it a little less expensive on Amazon. Scroll a little further down on that page and you'll see the Worldwide Society of Exorcists, which I'm a founding member. I offer a 12-week college level online course, Introduction to Spiritual Warfare, through the WSE. And that's the course for all you true warriors for Christ that feel a calling and a longing to want to have more knowledge when it comes to drawing your line in the sand, making a stand, circling the wagons, and putting up a good fight against, God forbid, true evil if it ever comes calling. That's the course for you. If you want to have more information about the course before making that type of commitment, there is a Worldwide Society of Exorcists Facebook page, or you can just call me, reach out to me, and talk to me about the course, and we'll see if it's for you. No, you're not going to learn how to be an exorcist. That's a calling. This is exactly what this course is entitled, Introduction to Spiritual Warfare. Now, having said that, all my students that graduate get a stunning diploma, certificate of completion, suited for framing, along with some other very special blessed gifts that you can only get from yours truly. So, most importantly, though, please keep all of my former, current, and future students in your prayers. Okay? Alrighty. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in, taking an hour out of your busy Friday to hang out with me, my guest, and the rest of my paranormal ministry family, because I don't have a show without each and every one of you. And now, the moment of truth, the reason why you all tuned in. I consider her a friend, more than a friend. I've known her a long time. Um, I love her. I respect her. She's just super cool. And let's hope that we have no more electronic issues of a paranormal nature for the rest of this show. Because without further ado, please welcome to the show the one and only Solaris Blue Raven.
Hello. Greetings. Thank you for inviting me.
If you weren't so busy with three other shows and all the books you write and all
Mhm.
the stuff you do as Solaris Blue Raven, um, I'd have you on every week as a co-host. That may
Oh,
happen one day. You never know.
I'm here.
Um, I'm gonna have to hit you in a. I'm gonna have to catch you on a good day when you're in a good mood with and not buried with all the responsibilities you're buried with to get an answer to that. But you never know. Crazier things might happen. Um,
True.
the Rev and Blue Raven show.
Very ominous.
Actually, it's better if the everyone's gonna say it. A sexist would say that, but it would be better if your name was first. The Blue Raven and the Rev, or Blue Raven and Rev show. Something. We'll work it out. You never know. Crazier things have happened.
It's true.
You look very pretty today.
Oh, thank you. And you losing up the
Um,
sunlight?
what do I want to say to you? I
I
didn't.
don't
I
know.
didn't
Silly.
prepare. I don't. I never really prepare much with you because you're a professional and you make my job so easy, and that's why I enjoy having you on. I have a few questions that fans and followers of yours have sent in to me. So let me do this. I've been getting a lot. I call it hate mail. Nobody ever sends
Oh
me
no.
hate mail, but people send me questions. Like when I announce that you're coming on the show, I get people sending me questions in for you. The show has
Oh.
taken on a life of its own. So I write these questions down, and then the next thing I know, I don't get to the questions. I start talking about something else with my guest, and then later on, the person will send me, "I sent you that question a week in advance, and you couldn't find time to ask so and so that." So, so I will actually, the first couple of questions on here are my questions. So let's go for it.
Mhm.
I met a very interesting woman the other day, and she called herself a hereditary witch. And I said, "Hereditary witch." I didn't throw out any names or anything. I said, "I know a lineage initiated witch. Same thing." She said, "Let me break it down to you. If you check in your history," and then, so many memories started coming back to me. She said, if everybody checks into their family history and heritage, 99.999999% of the time, you're going to find somebody in your family heritage back in the day, or maybe even now, that dabbles a little in witchcraft. It is what
Mhm.
it is. And I can attest to that. Yeah, I have people in my family background that did a little bit of that.
Mhm.
She says, but you're only hereditary if you were born into a family and in the process of them raising you, they taught you the practices of witchcraft, and that's hereditary.
Mhm.
Um, but she never addressed the lineage witch. So I know you are a lineage initiated witch, and this
Mhm.
I brought you on. I mean, I can't have a Halloween season on this show without bringing you on at least once. So I know you're a lineage initiated witch,
Mhm.
an American high priestess. I don't know, maybe a time or two you have ran around the forest naked with other witches around a big bonfire and did weird things. I don't know. And that's okay if you did. I don't judge. But address what that is, if it's the same as a hereditary or if there's a difference there, and what
Mhm.
that is and that part of your life is.
Okay. Well, the initiated witch is one who is part of a traditional witchcraft coven or style. call history. You have the Alexandrian, you have Gardnerian, for example. So that's a lineage you're dealing with tradition and training in witchcraft, being initiated in witchcraft. So that's how we do things on that level. Then there's the lineage witch, which in my opinion is just ancestors, as we were talking about. But also, some ancestors are more secretive with their children, even if they're into the craft, and even if they have a background with cosmic forces, they don't really disclose everything to their children. It kind of bleeds through on a cellular level, if you ask me, or they'll see it through just by observing. Say if the mother is into something like scrying, or tea leaf reading, or herbology with this and the other. I've seen that come through insofar as the lineage goes on that level. So the initiated is a different area in a sense, but at some point, in my opinion, they both become initiation, whether it's self-initiation or through the lineage itself. A spirit kind of picks you on those levels, and that the heritage level, it initiates you through the cosmic forces. In my opinion, I've seen people who are part of that lineage and just start morphing and evolving and growing into that particular design work, even if they haven't had a full instruction from their parents. Sometimes the parents are deceased, sometimes their grandparents are gone, but the lineage and the force is still there, and that's part of that they can access in the field, if you ask me. So that's just my 2 cents on that.
I have a lot of witch friends, and I have a lot of colleagues of mine that always, some of them don't bat an eye, some give me the, live and let live. I know people, colleagues of mine, that know people in my field that have done bad things. I think everybody, regardless of what walk of life you're from, what uh, uh, religious belief system you may or may not have in place, I believe any of that stuff can be perverted. Let's talk about um, some stereotypes about witches that just aren't true. Like I don't, I've never seen a witch riding or flying around on a broom. I've never seen a witch. Well, I just went into the psychic guy the other day to buy some sage and some sweet grass. What else did I get there? Just to kind of walk around and see what else they got. I went in there for something else. I'm drawing a blank now, and I saw a huge. It felt like cast iron, the most awesome looking cauldron I'd ever
Hmm.
seen. I'm not going to buy a cauldron. I wouldn't know what to do with one anyhow. It's not my thing. But what are some stereotypes about witches that um, you can clear up for us?
I think a lot of the time it's metaphor, insofar as terminology goes. The broom is used for various things, and we do use brooms. You can correlate it to astral projection and a lot of other things when it comes down to the dream time with the witch, also dispelling negativity and, using it to clear your residence and cast circles, this, that, and the other. But when you're looking at, to me, it seems like most people associate witches as being like eating children and, demon worship and what devil worship is really what
I just saw a movie about that the other day called The
it's
Witch.
I mean, it's always that negative spin they want to put on it. And quite honestly, it's a very high alchemical path if you utilize it correctly. It's very, very high when it comes down to mystical alchemy and spirituality, mastering consciousness, because you're working in different realms, different fields of energy. You're interfacing with different types of beings and life forms, including the elementals that we talk about, and other things that are connected to our ancestry. So, in my opinion, I think that there's a lot of taboo. It's been around forever. I think the media and television, so to speak, has a lot to do with that. Unfortunately, unless people actually enter a circle and start participating just as a guest, then they really wouldn't understand what really goes on, in my opinion. And it's nothing, in my opinion, nefarious in any formula. I haven't been. We've talked about that before. I've been around some wonderful people in the craft and coven work, and we've done some powerful stuff. And it's never been nefarious or spooky the way they think it is. Supernatural, yes, but not in the realm they try to create. So, yeah.
I didn't. I know that I don't know it all. In fact, it would be astonishing even to myself to sit down and just think about all the things I don't know. I know I don't know it all, and that is something I did not know about the broom. I just thought it was a like a joke thing. The witches flying around the room. I did not know that was used like that. I recently had a case where somebody had purchased, and I forget what it's called. There's a name to the special dagger that's used.
Asami?
That could be it. And they purchased one of those from some obscure roadside oddity store out in the middle of nowhere. and they thought that that had brought some weirdness into their home. But I'd never heard the thing about the broom. I think that is so cool. Um, then I've talked to a lot of people. Like I had somebody reach out to me the other day and so I think I have a bayou witch. They live in the South. Poss- uh, I don't remember if it was Louisiana or a state nearby that has a lot of bayou swampland and stuff. And they weren't Cajuns, but they live in that
Hmm.
area. And she said, I suspect, actually, I got two crazy calls. I got one crazy call from a lady who thought her neighbor was a loup-garou, a werewolf. But then I thought
Hmm.
another lady said, I have a neighbor that I think is a bayou witch. And so by that term, bayou witch, I thought she is just trying to, she's saying that there's something wrong with this lady. She goes, and I
Hmm.
think I made her mad, and she has done some, she's cursed me or cursed my family or my home or whatever. I'm having a lot of issues. And she said, I've done everything I can to try and make amends with her and ward off the evil eye. And she talked about in the many different things that she said she did. She put a mirror on her front door facing out. Do you know anything about any of those?
Yes.
Okay, the
It's
floor is
funny you
yours.
mention this because I seems to be a topic of discussion lately and I can't confirm or deny whether the neighbor is paranoid or the neighbor's actually dialing into something psychic attack oriented. But I will say that the mirrors do reflect; they can cast out and reflect energetics that are connecting in or trying to connect into a residence. So if you're using something, I know like in Feng Shui, we've talked about that probably in previous shows, but the idea behind that is to create a natural flow, a cosmic flow, but also deflect any non-productive energies. And in my opinion, yeah, a mirror would be helpful for that. Anything shiny or reflective certainly would do that. So putting something like that out would be might be a little obvious to your neighbor if you're doing that,
Yeah,
depending
yeah.
what she's doing. You could use all kinds of stuff. Black salt's really good, and some other techniques you can do, or just whatever she uses for her prayer, her affirmations, to cast out negative, non-productive energies. But yeah, this whole thing about witch wars, it's really psychological wars merged with consciousness wars too. It's all about belief systems, paranoia, people kind of not trusting each other, and I think open communication would be the best solution if they can talk. If they can't talk and something's afoot, then do what you can to shield and protect. And I'm sure your
I got
services
I
would be
got the
helpful.
yeah, I got the distinct impression that for me it's honesty. When anybody ever calls me and say, "Listen, we're not, theoretically, we're not sitting here and you're not confessing to me and, I'm not absolving you of your sins. We can do that, but th- it's important that we have honesty here. You got to just tell me what you think is really going on. What'd you do to make this woman mad at you? Sometimes I think they hold back,
Hmm.
and maybe she did something. I'm not condoning the witch putting a curse on her, but maybe she did something to piss that witch off.
Right. Well, yeah,
Um,
you don't want to piss them off, and I have to say, it depends on. It really depends on what she thinks witchcraft is, and not everybody gets cursed per se. I mean, you get negative vibes off of people every day of the week. They don't have to be witches. They could be sending you some bad energy because they're not in a good centered state of mind. So they're emanating this energetic towards you, and if you're empathic enough, you'll pick up on that energy. Like, wow, this doesn't feel good. You'll own it, but it's not yours to own to begin with. So it can take on so many different formulas. I think that people who do, hexing and cursing towards others, eventually that blows up on them. I'm telling you, it
really,
just blows up on them. At some point, space time that's gonna implode. So I believe in deflecting, obviously, various attacks. And it depends on the level of psychic combat, and you should know. I'm sure you do. But as a martial artist, we do the same thing. We're not here to put a fight with anybody. We're not here to bully anybody. We're here to counter. And that's how it works where I come from. So I have had people tell me that they've had a lot of escalated supernatural activity lately, and also connected to sometimes with people in their environments who are whether they're paranoid or they're going through their own emotional issues. And for some reason, the energy of the power of the witch brings out their drama, which it might, because you're dealing with different frequencies and energy. So as they create their frequency and they raise the consciousness and the energy along the neighborhood, that's going to expand into other realms in a sense of expanding in other people's residences to some degree. You might get a bleed through, and that might affect them energetically speaking. To take a look at themselves, maybe feel a little more paranoid, like something's there. I can go on and on. It just depends on what's going on with that person.
let's address the whole mirror thing again.
Hmm.
I have been in people's homes where they have mirrors and they've got them covered up. I've been into homes. My home's one of the ones that I didn't cover them up with a sheet because I thought you know, that's weird. And I already live in a haunted house, so I thought that's just too weird. If anybody does come and visit, and no one comes here anymore, but if somebody does, that's a little weird. So what I do, I did take down a lot when I realized there were a lot of spirits here. I took down most of my mirrors. I'll have to redress that whole theory again with myself, even because there's some beautiful mirrors I had that I had put away.
Mm,
Because I I felt that I was buying into the theory of them being portals, and I was finding myself on a lot of these cases where um, there was it was suspected that there was something of a malevolent nature hanging around this location, and
mm,
I was starting to find more and more extreme oddities that I couldn't explain in pictures and film footage that I was taking, where I would catch the reflection of the mirror in the photo or the film, and in these photos I would catch these anomalies that I couldn't explain.
mm-hmm,
So that planted the seed. I got a little worried because things were getting quite active here, and I remember it was a time where we were coming right off of um, Sharon having just survived a real bad attack from something that followed us home from a case. And so I did take a few nice mirrors down. The couple that I've left up, I've covered them up with pictures, like family photos. I made them like
mm,
a collage of family photos, and there might be one or two spots of the mirror still visible. And of course, I have mirrors in the bathroom because you got to see yourself
mm-hmm,
when you're
right.
getting ready to go to work or leave or whatever. Um, Talk to me about all the dangers or not of mirrors, and if this whole theory about the portals and what we may or may not want to be careful about when it comes to mirrors.
Right. Well, they do attract. They can create. Hopefully, you can hear me. Okay.
You sound great.
Okay, good. I saw a delay there. I'm sorry. So normally mirrors absorb energy, obviously, and even if you're projecting your own energy in the mirror, your image, you're seeing yourself in the illusion of. There's an energetic exchange there. So there's an imprint. There's a psychic imprint with mirrors, whether you're doing it consciously or subconsciously. We do it every day. Mirror, mirror on the wall. But there's also the concept of how we use it for reflection, deflection, so and also portal access. So if you're using it for scrying or something like that in a formal ritual, then yeah, you could access it as a portal insofar as scrying in between realms. So I don't discount that at all. I think there's a lot of times when we have antique mirrors, you have to be clear on what you're dealing with energetically, what's been imprinted there. What has that mirror absorbed as a record of information? Sometimes it's just the eyes and the ears of the environment it was in. And if it was in a room of some kind where someone transferred out or something else, there's an imprint there at some level, in my opinion. And at some point, that needs to be probably cleared, transmuted alchemically. You can certainly clear mirrors. In my opinion, I don't think you really need to cover them up per se, but I do like the idea that you put the family's energy on that in a sense of love, vibration, unity. So you're adding some energy onto that that's your own signature that changes the field, right? That's something that I think is appropriate. I do think that they're very powerful for deflecting horrific attacks. And I can
Really?
tell you, yeah, I do. Because if you have predator energies, shadow type predator energies, reflection and deflection with anything, well, sometimes it's metallic, but mirrors in general can do very well insofar as deflecting and reversing, almost bouncing out the transmission and the intent of the entity that's in the room. So it does do that. I don't know if you remember the movie. We mentioned Constantine a lot, right?
Oh,
Remember the mirror?
you and I are so totally psychically in sync right now because I was just as you were talking, I'm thinking of the opening scene from that movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, that is wild. I had never thought about
You
that.
can seal portals, you can activate them, you can deactivate them, you can seal them.
So you believe that actually I've always been on the fence with portals. I mean, I've gone into homes. It always seems the corners always seem to be the weird spots.
You're
So
right.
sometimes I can just even with a bell, I can go in and change that vibration by
Hmm.
using sound and just shake a bell or even clap my hands in a corner and change that weirdness there. Um, I've always been on. I have never. You're never gonna say that doesn't exist out of me because I've seen enough crazy stuff in my life. There's times where I still wonder if I'm a little crazy or if did I really experience what I think I just experienced. Um, I've always been on the fence with the portals, but you buy into that. You believe that portals do exist.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, they're all over the place. You can access them in, like I said, activate, deactivate. They're usually everywhere depending on what you're doing in your state of consciousness. If you're in an area where it's highly supernatural naturally, or there are a lot of ley lines, you can certainly activate access points. I call them access points. You can call them portals. The bottom line is there are places to traverse, interact, interface in between worlds and realms, and you can open and close these areas. So a lot of people bring them in their residences and don't even know why or how, but sometimes it's just as simple as what they're doing for a living, how they're thinking. The
Hmm.
first thing you do when you're checking and you're scanning a home, you probably realize this. If you're doing any type of feng shui or anything, you're looking for access points and portals. What's productive? What's non-productive? Is this a portal that's too busy for you? Do you want to shut it down? You certainly have the authority to do so. Some people like that. They like the activity in their house. They like the energy in their house. I don't like busy supernatural stuff, myself, because my
Yeah.
mind has been interfaced with machines. And I don't need it, but a lot of people don't mind it, and I know you're. So you can open and close these things. You do it with your frequencies, your state of consciousness, which is closing apparently, or at least neutralizing that portal that you're accessing it when you're into somebody's residence. In my opinion.
I'm going to confess something to you. I bet you didn't think you were going to get take confession today.
Oh
Um,
boy,
I
yes,
don't
my
mess.
son. I am a high priestess, so go for it.
I uh, I don't like to rock the boat. I mean, I was attacked in my backyard once. I was thrown into my pool's empty because we always had paranormal issues with the pool, so we just let it drain. We stopped using it. But one time I was back there doing some watering, and something threw me in the deep end of my pool, and it was drained. So that was a bad fall. That hurt. It was scary. I very rarely go into the backyard anymore, but occasionally I go back there. If I start getting and I've told you about this before, that banshee sounding
Mhm.
thing that occasionally happens at night, and I worry about I got 10 at one time. I don't know where these cats came from. All of a sudden, I got 14 cats living in my yard. Sharon's brought home like a half dozen or so carriers, and she takes the cage door off the front, and she puts like some cat beds and blankets inside, tapes the holes up, and then puts a couple of quilts over the top of them, strategically places them under the eave of the home around the house so they have places to live, um, feeds them and stuff. I don't like to rock the boat. When we've had ugly things here, like in the backyard, I've gone back there, I've blessed my watering system. So then when I spray the holy water through the hose, I'm spraying down the roof, I'm spraying down the whole backyard. But I only go back there if I start having issues hearing the banshee sound. If something in the house that I feel my spidey senses go up, I address that. But when I do believe it's just like elemental activity and they're relatively behaving, um, and I owe them one. They kept a big tree from smashing my master bedroom, and I believe it was. I did pray to the Holy Family too on that occasion, but I believe that when I went out and asked these elementals, I know you guys are here hanging around. I'm going to have to move, and the next person that lives here, you may really not dig. So just help me out here and don't let this tree crash on my house. And the tree was already, it's a huge tree. It was already coming out of the ground. It was going to fall on my house. I woke up the next morning. Something had picked the tree up and completely laid it down in the opposite direction, going away from the house. Made sure it didn't land on my car or in my neighbor's lawn and stopped it just short of the sidewalk so kids could still walk by. So I owe them one, and I don't want to chase them off. And I go out there, it's the little bit of indigenous blood flowing through my veins, and I still go out there and I give offerings into the ground and stuff. Always accompany that with prayers to the Holy Family, doing my Catholic thing. But I don't like to rock the boat. Whenever we do something weird with the house, like any type of construction work or anything weird, things start getting weird. So I don't like to rock the boat. And my confession is this: never got over my parents passing, and my older sisters, like, don't conjure. Let them rest in peace. If they want to visit you, they will, but don't conjure. So I don't. But there's this little thing that wonders if I don't close whatever this is that's allowing these spirits to come and go. Um, if my parents want to come and visit, I want them to be able to do that too.
Right.
So, um, do you think portals need to be closed, or can you coincide with the portals? Can you coincide with the elementals, or should I do a major um, major spiritual redo of my whole property and home?
It's up to you intuitively speaking. You know, if you feel like the energetic is productive, then work with them. If you feel like it's non-productive, then you'll have to, in my opinion, neutralize it. Or I mean, neutralization means just neutralize it, so it's non so the non-productive energetics are not coming through. You can close or open these what I call access points and portals by your choosing. Usually, if it's your residence, if your domain, if it's your domain, you have the authority to do so. When it comes down to your ancestors, if you're concerned about that portal needs to be open for them, that's not how they're getting in. So don't worry about it. They're coming through your consciousness as you're interfacing with consciousness in the stream, if you ask me. It is not about a portal. Portals are more for traversing back and forth and allowing entry points and information, but in a different formula. At least that's my own experience working with my ancestors. I mean, I'm not trying to pull them into the field because I want them to keep ascending and moving on to wherever they're comfortable in their own state of being. But I do know the more we think about,
I lost you.
we are walking
Okay,
stargates. Can you hear me okay?
I can now. For a second, we lost you, but you're back.
Okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Portal.
It is what
Well,
it
I was
and
waving
this
my hands. Okay, so I don't even know if waving my hands is interfering, but I'm going to leave my hands alone.
I remember one time having this weird conversation with you, and I can hear people right now going, every conversation with you and Solaris is weird. But I remember one time I was having some issues here at the house, and I was probably going through a period where I was already, you know, uh, probably at the height of Sharon battling her three rare forms of cancer, which um, came on like gangbusters right after this 8 week battle we had of whatever this malevolent force was that followed us home from this case we worked. So I was hanging on emotionally and physically by my fingernails over the abyss, dealing with everything, trying to turn the page on all that stuff so I could just concentrate on making sure Sharon didn't die on me one night. But I was having these really weird issues one night, and then one night turned into 2 nights, 2 nights turned into 3 nights. Next thing you know, it was days and days of this of stuff that was weirder than usual. So I had a psychic, and I do believe in psychic abilities. I have a lot of, in addition to having a lot of witch friends, I have a lot of psychic friends, and I know a lot of clergy, and some of them don't like to admit to how psychic they are, but I know a lot of clergy that are very psychic. And I
Mhm,
had a psychic friend who I know is legit, the real deal, and truly gifted, who told me that, and I ended up researching this, and I found this to be true. She said you have in your background, dating back to some of your ancestries in England, people who were in clergy that did a lot of witch hunting and killed a lot of witches. Some were witches, some weren't. But you seems like you have this woman who's pissed off at you, and it's like a transgenerational curse, if you will. And she may or may not have been a witch, but one of your ancestors executed her for that. And so that's the attachment there. And I was talking to you about that. And you said, "Oh, I can fix that for you. I can help you with that." I don't remember, to be honest with you. I don't remember if I had you help me with that or not, but I remember I did a lot of things to combat that.
mhm,
Um, Part of it was not I didn't want to just battle it, because then I
mhm,
thought to myself, how sad is that this entity it's part of this transgenerational curse. Maybe this woman did it to herself. If she
mhm,
cursed that ancestor of mine, that curse drug her into being the attachment, and now she's spent all of these hundreds of years, messing with members of my family. That's
mhm,
sad because of something that one of my ancestors did to her in the first place. I found that very sad. So I did a
mhm,
lot of uh, talking to whatever this thing was. And it was funny how when I would address it and talk to it like that, things would calm down. And
mhm,
eventually, I did enough saging and cleansing and blessing and the exorcisms over the home and the property, things got better. I was told I can't go back to when the deed was done and undo it. So you just have to try to make amends.
Hmm.
Eventually things got better, but when you said, "Oh, I can help you with that," how would and I get a lot of people that call me up with and they believe that their family is cursed because of things
Right.
that ancestors
Hmm.
done. How would you how would you have helped me? And you may have helped
I
me. I
think I
don't.
might have given you some information on that pertaining to releasing vows and contracts for one. That would be one of them. And also just transmuting alchemically events through timelines and accessing. You're not changing the time and the illusion of time, but you're transmuting alchemically the trauma on both sides, whatever that might be, insofar as that goes. And you can do that through prayer, affirmations. However, whatever your path is on a spiritual level, you can certainly look into that and dial into that. When it comes down to ancestral curses and the illusion of curses, I think there's psychic imprinting once again at the cellular level that gets just generation after generation, it's embedded. And at some point, one of the members of the family usually clears the line, for the ancestors. Who does the spiritual work? Usually it's the one who's raising the bar as far as consciousness goes and ascending into in higher realms to be able to dial in and neutralize, transmute alchemically is like the word I like to use, to change that perimeter so that there's no more of this polarity going on in between realms. I do know there's a lot of weird, strange going on right now, and I don't think people are even consciously aware they're projecting negative forces. I don't even think they understand that they're projecting attacks on each other through energetics or through paranormal supernatural. I think it's a subconscious thing they're doing. So that's another thing. Mastering consciousness is what I talk about quite often, because when you master consciousness, you know better. You just kind of there is the positive, neutral positive kind of thing, where it is you just walk in between the realms and you understand that no side needs to act that way in any formula. So it takes a different level of perspective, but that's just my 2 cents on that. I don't know if you remember that vows and contracts or not, but I'm pretty sure I mentioned it to you.
I
It's
probably
okay
wrote
if
it
you
down.
don't.
I have a Solaris Blue Raven book.
Oh, you
Um,
have a grimoire.
well, a book that
Very
I
good.
made about you, things that
I
I
tease
remember you
you.
telling me that
My
I wrote down
grimoire.
because
Thank you. I'm
speaking of
kidding.
books, you know, time is flying. The show's only an hour long. I want to make sure everybody knows what they need to know about you. For
Listen,
I
forget
printed
it.
I printed this picture out because I thought of you and I got a good laugh and I wished it was in color. I'll hold it up just
Oh,
for a
great.
second. I thought to myself, I was going to tease you about.
It's funny.
I know where you were this weekend.
Ah, that is me. I like that picture.
I
Yeah,
love
well,
it because
wait till Samhain, bud.
they had and it's only gone on for a couple 3 years now. And it's
It's cute.
Sleepy Hollow, the harbor out there, or the ocean right off the coast of Sleepy Hollow.
Hmm.
They have the witches paddle every year at this time, and paddleboarding, and all these witches show up, and there was a ton of them this
It's
year. Just
cute.
all these witches paddleboarding across the seascape there. I thought that was funny. I'm like, oh,
Hmm.
Solaris must be there.
That's right.
Um, let's talk about your books. You got
Okay.
well, you are a world renowned, critically acclaimed author. So talented. I'm so jealous. And you've written a lot of books. And I'm going to ask you about Mr. Sun and Miss Moon here in a second. But you
Mr.
got
Sun, the
two new
Halloween
books
Ball.
out: Cosmic
Correct.
Travelers, Moonlight in the Water.
Correct.
Talk to your fans and followers who may not have known that you had the books out, or know that they're out and are going to get them, or the people that are just now getting introduced to Solaris Blue Raven. What can they expect from these books, and what of you are in these books? Um,
Okay.
and why the few people that have already gotten them that I've talked to, why are they seem so fascinated by these books?
Well, I heard some good feedback so far, and of course, I just launched Moonlight in the Water: Alchemical Moon Magic. Is just a nice book in correlation to moon, the moon, lunar magic, but also in correlation to cosmic ancestry. So we go into different realms. I give some templates insofar as possible rituals. I don't go into the witchcraft in general. I just go into spirituality, higher consciousness, and the path of mystical alchemy. And it is very productive insofar as what I see through the eyes of the moon itself, insofar as the energetics and the imprints connected to our cosmic ancestors. So that's what the moon is, Moonlight in the Water is about, the reflection of our psyche and consciousness, and some little techniques you can use during lunar cycles whether it's through, crystal healing or whatever you want to utilize through the lunar energies. So I cover that to some degree. It's a very short read, something you'd probably read in between airports, going to plane, that kind of thing. I didn't want to make it really big and really thick. So that's one. The other one, an analysis of time travel, which is really Cosmic Travelers. That's another one that's based on time travel, what we do insofar as how the traversing of the galactic highway works, how the calibration works, and what is necessary in order to make that technology real. And it is real, by the way, but it's calibration of the field at the molecular, cellular, atomic level. I get into details insofar as how that works with traversing the galactic highway. And it's kind of a spin-off of my previous book, Alien Intelligence, but I go in further, connecting into traversing and how we're capable of doing phenomenal things with our biosuits and the biotech within.
So cool. I wish you the best of luck. First of all, the books, I stole the picture off the back of, was it, yeah, I love that picture. On the back of Cosmic Travelers. I stole that picture and used it for the promotion of your appearance today
Mm-hmm.
because I love that picture.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm glad you chose that picture because usually people don't choose a picture of them with a beloved fur
There's
baby.
a
It's
dedication to him in there, to my boy.
that's
Yeah,
cool. That is so
I
cool.
love him. Miss him much.
Um,
Yeah,
the books look beautiful, and I'm hearing great things. I wish you the best of luck with both of them. And you're just like
thank
I
you.
said, you're just so talented. You've
Thank
written
you.
so many good books, and I'm barely finished my second one.
Oh, your books are awesome. And I will have you back on my show, by the way.
You don't have to, but anytime I'm available for you anytime. You know
Of
that.
course. Solaris
Um,
who? I'm teasing.
Halloween. Everybody's asking me, is there going to be? You had Mr. Sun and Miss Moon. Talk about that book because it's Halloween, and
Right.
might we get a series out of them?
I hear that all the time. Mr. Sun and the Halloween Ball is the book. And yes, it's Mr. Sun and Miss Moon and their adventures with a Halloween Ball, which is, of course, I kind of dovetail into Samhain so I can calibrate people to understanding Samhain in general and mysticism. So, yeah, it's a wonderful book. If anybody hasn't read it, I encourage people to do so. And yeah, I'd like to make a series to that at some point. So we'll see how that works. And yeah, enjoy the read. I love that book myself, but I'm immature too. So
Well,
it's a
I
fun one.
thought about if I do a third one, I'm doing this. I'm weighing my options. I've always wanted to write a children's book, and when I say that, people go, "You write a children's book?" Um, but I do have a good children's story that I think you know uh, would be a good read. Or or a lot of people don't know that. Well, yeah, you can look at me and tell I love food, but I am quite the cook. I was thinking about maybe a cookbook.
Nice.
Uh, you know, the way you can cook spiritually and have blessed meals and have these wonderful meals that I had all my life that you usually were served when it was a big occasion, but there was also always a lot of love and blessings gone into it. All the salts that were used were blessed salts, and if the recipe called for water was always holy water, and then it was just a lot of love always put in. When I was growing up, I just knew there was a lot of love put into these dishes, and I've kept those recipes and wanted to put them in a book. Unfortunately, my publisher says, you should probably want to have about 25 recipes or more, or maybe combine the two. I don't have 25 recipes, maybe a dozen. And so I
Oh,
might either have them be both like a children's book and cookbook together. I'm not sure.
hmm.
We'll see how that works out.
It sounds fun.
Um,
I like that. Also, you can
what
always add more recipes. What about your wife? Maybe she has a few. Sharon has some.
That's how I got so heavy. She is a wonderful cook.
Is you blaming her?
When I met her, I was 180, and then yeah, and it didn't happen overnight, but in you know, I've lost. I don't even know how much I've lost now in the past year. I've been on Nutrisystem, but
Nice.
in the let's say the first 18 years of marriage, I put on 100 pounds. Um,
Well, good cooking.
yeah. Oh, she's just yeah. I've got no. She can't cook. No, I said if you're gonna put me on Nutrisystem, I can do it, but you have to just stop. You have to stop cooking because
Mm.
yeah, I've got no willpower, and she is an incredible cook, and so it is what it is. But we'll see what happens.
Hmm. It's awesome.
Before I say goodbye to you, I want to make sure that I've got all the important stuff out of the way here. I know people can catch you later on KCOR for Hyperspace tonight, Friday
That's
nights.
correct. Hmm.
I also know, and I've been on the show before, I, along with a lot of other people, love Raven Star's Witching Hour on
Hmm.
Friday nights. I'm sorry, Saturday nights. But tomorrow
Saturday,
night,
yes.
a couple of people sent me, did she change her show? Because tomorrow night you have the Cyber Cafe, the witch.
Right. Yeah. Cyber Witch Cafe. Yeah. It's once a month. I get together with Niche, who's another witchy poo. We get together and stir the cauldron, cast a circle, and we have a great time. We invite everyone to participate. And yeah, it's pretty enlightening. We talk magical and mystical alchemy
So
and
usually
various things.
three Saturdays out of the month it's Raven Star's Witching Hour, but
Correct.
one Saturday out of the month it's the cafe.
That's correct. And it's usually towards the end of the month. Yeah.
And where can people listen to either one of those shows on a Saturday night?
Okay. Well, Raven Star's Witching Hour, it's freedomslips.com, Studio A. And on the other hyperspace, it's KCWR Digital Radio Network on Friday night. And both are 12 midnight Eastern Time, 9 p.m. Pacific. And thank you for having me. This has been wonderful as always. And the gremlins behaved. The gremlins and the wires behaved. See? He laughs.
And it's funny. I was like, oh, let's talk about this real quick before I have to say goodbye to you. Let's talk about my Jules B in Illinois said, "Do you believe in goblins at Halloween? Any precautions one can take to avoid a goblin attack?" I think of I believe it's called the Red Cap. It's a goblin legend in England, and they're these big goblins that are rumored and believed to inhabit castles, and they're murderous and they're fast. You can't outrun them, and they're murderous, and you got to be careful of the red cap. But I think of um, my most. I'll ask you about that, and I'll also ask you about your favorite Halloween tradition. Mine is, and my wife won't let me do it because she knows everybody in the neighborhood already thinks I'm a weirdo. But I wanted to bake a batch of soul cakes, and I wanted to make some authentic jack o' lanterns. And like the original jack o' lantern was like a carved out turnip with a hot coal in it. And I don't know if you know the story behind that, but Jack, and I forget his
Mhm.
last name. I think they called him Stingy Jack. He was a really bad character, and I guess he's walking down the street one day and he runs into the devil who's going to take him to hell. So he tricks the devil. There was an apple tree there, and how's the story go? And he asked the devil, "Before you take me to hell, could you go up and grab me an apple?" When the devil went up the tree, he carved a cross in the tree, and the devil was scared to climb down over the cross. So Jack got out of it. But um, many, I guess he made some type of deal with the devil. And many years later, when he died, because of all his bad deeds, God wouldn't let him into heaven. And the devil wouldn't let him into hell either because of the tricks he played on him. So he was destined to roam eternity in the darkness, like purgatory, I guess, but worse, like a hell version of purgatory. So he gave him a carved out pumpkin or a carved out turnip with a coal in it to light his way. I wanted to make some authentic old school jack o' lanterns out of turnips, maybe even give one or two out as gifts. But I wanted to go door to door with these soul cakes and give them to people. Sharon said no. Nobody even comes around the house anymore as it is.
Oh,
They think we're the freaky old ghost people at the haunted house. So not a good idea. Not anymore. Maybe back in the day, yeah. But um, you have any Halloween traditions? What are you going to do Halloween? And you got any favorite things about Halloween?
well, we celebrate Samhain, so I'll probably do a ceremony. We do a little ritual with some coveners, and usually do something in dedication to the ancestors. So it's something to that effect. I'm not sure if it'll be a dumb feast or not at this point. We'll do something fun, and that's pretty much what I have planned. I mean, obviously I set up and I have all kinds of decor. Probably looks, I don't know. This is all year round, so it doesn't really change much. Maybe a little bit extra, like with the pumpkins. I have some jack o' lanterns I'll be doing, and just enjoying the festivity. We do have spirit food that we do. We leave out. So they're not soul cakes, but they are spirit food that we leave out and put them
That is so
outside.
cool. That is so cool.
Yeah, for the visitors. Yeah,
Um, I hope I'm not. Goblins. What do you think about goblins?
goblins. Oh, I don't have any comment. Believe it or not. I'm not
Well,
sure.
I know
Sounds like a
some
video
believe
game.
they're in the Fae family. I know
Mm,
people that are into fairies
well,
that would probably argue that. I
I'm just
or
gonna appease
some
them.
believe in some
Yeah,
people in
go
my
ahead.
field think they're demonic. Some people that I know believe they're all part of the elemental family. I'm telling you, like I said, I think I have a mini hoonie on my property. I was having some bad issues here. Went out to
Mm,
the front yard again, and I find this weird rock in my flower planter, and I said, have you, Sharon, do you know where that rock came from? She goes, oh, that's my Hawaiian rock. I brought when she lived in Hawaii. She brought this rock back from Hawaii. I'm like, oh no, please tell me you didn't bring that rock back
it's
from
not lava,
Hawaii.
right?
Well, it's just a funky white black rock with holes all over it.
Mm,
Um, anyway, what I did was I picked it up and I put it in the nicest part of my flower garden, surrounded by aloe and cactus and flowers. And I blessed it and I prayed to it and I said, hey, listen, sorry, maybe one day I'll send you back home, but this is the best place in my property I can set here. And I left some candy and
mm.
money and tobacco there and some other things and holy water and prayers and stuff. Things got a lot better
Oh, good.
in that area of the yard where the rock was. But I saw something peek at me through my doggy door the other night, and it wasn't a cat. And then I
Hmm.
saw it walk across my porch because I had my big screen glass window there. It peeked in through the doggy door at me and then walked across my porch. By the time I grabbed the flashlight it was gone. But I'm like,
Hmm.
that looked like a fucking little person. I'm like,
Hmm.
what is going on
Interesting.
here? Um, and that happened shortly after I did the thing with the rock. And I know mini hoonies. I know a
Hmm.
lot of people in Hawaii that believe in them. So who knows what's here? Maybe I got a mini
Well, it
Hoonie
sounds
friend
like
here.
you're a hot spot for a lot of things. You do have surveillance cameras, or maybe you don't. Not just on a logical level. Be careful of doggy doors. People do use them to break into residences, but you have those dogs,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, you should be fine. But yeah,
I love you. I
I love you too.
respect you.
Likewise,
I know I'm going to have you back. Did you have
have you
fun when you
back.
come back?
I love coming back, and thank you. I'm always honored to be here. You know that, and I'm honored to have you on my show. And I love you too. You're wonderful. You do a lot of good work.
If I don't
And
talk to you
congratulations, by the way,
on what?
on everything.
Oh, I'm not allowed to talk about that stuff.
I know, but
It's
congratulations.
I just totally have pushed it aside. I don't even worry about it anymore because it was supposed to be out in the spring, then summer, then fall, November, and then now somebody talked about. I don't know what Q1 of 2023 means. That and I can't send the book out. I talk about this thing that happened to me in the book, and I can't let the book go out until I'm allowed to talk about the other thing. So I don't know if it's going
Awesome.
to be next month or the first part of 2023, but we've talked about it. And so I know you mean that too, and I
Hmm.
appreciate it. So if I don't
Indeed.
talk to you before Halloween, have a wonderfully blessed, safe, um, happy Halloween,
Thank you.
and just do you, boo.
I
And
will. You
I will
too.
I will talk to you soon.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
I'll see you later.
All right.
Oh my gosh, I love her. CommunityPayItForward.us. CommunityPayItForward.us. Go there and donate to the hurricane relief. If you need a little more God in your life, the United States Old Catholic Church in Bishop James Long has night prayer every weeknight, Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific. You can go to usocc.org. I'm sure the link's there. If not, you can find the link on my personal Facebook page and go to night prayer with us. If you don't have anything to do on a Wednesday or a Friday afternoon at 5 p.m. Pacific, Bishop James Long in the United States Old Catholic Church has Bible study. And that is a really cool time. Trust me. And I also have the link on my Facebook page for that. And you can also go to usocc.org. Probably get the link there too to Bible study. So that's for all you people that I know need a little more God in their life. I want to thank Things Network. I want to thank Temple of Phoenix Rising Entertainment. I want to thank Skeleton Key Network. I want to thank PACT, little p, capital ACT, Podcasting for All Coming Together channel, for all these networks simulcasting my show. God bless you all for doing that. I will be here this coming Monday with an all new, brand new show. Oh my gosh, you're going to love her. She hasn't been on in a long time, too. I'm so excited. Clarissa Vasquez will be here. And where did it go? Oh my gosh, she just sent me her book. Oh, there it is. She's got a new book out, The Phantom Hitchhiker Project and America's Haunted Roadways. So Clarissa Vasquez will be here this coming Monday. Bad joke time. A bad joke that I'm going to pull out of the hat that one of you sent in to try and put a smile on your faces before I say bye. What did the teacher do with the student's report on cheese? She graded it. Good night, Danny. Good night, Jack. Good night, dog. Good night, Harold. Rest in peace. Good night, Ernie. Good night, Bill. Good night, Dan. I love you all. God bless you all. You're all on the prayer list. Peace.